All right, so let's talk about something that's probably happened to you. You buy a stock online, you see the money disappear from your account instantly, and then nothing. For a couple of days, it feels like your money and your shares have just vanished into thin air. Well, today, we're going to solve that exact mystery. We are pulling back the curtain on what really happens in those days after you click buy.
And that's a totally fair question, right? You've done your part. You've paid up. But here's the thing. That share you just bought isn't officially yours. Not just yet. It's on a journey. A really regulated behind-the-scenes strip that, takes a little bit of time. So let's follow it. Okay, so to understand this journey, we have to look at the rulebook. This whole process has an official name. It's called trade settlement. And it's all governed by one simple but super powerful rule that the entire market runs on, the T+2 Settlement Cycle. Now, what on earth does T+2 actually mean? It's way simpler than it sounds, I promise. T just stands for the trade day. That's the day your order to buy or sell actually happens. And the +2? Well, that just means the final official swap of your money for those shares has to be finished within 2 business days after that trade day. So let's map this out on a calendar. Let's say you buy a share on a Monday. That's your T day. Tuesday is T+1. That's when all the background prep work is happening. And then Wednesday, that's T+2. That's settlement day. That's the day the shares officially land in your account, and you become the one true legal owner. And remember, these are business days, so weekends or holidays can definitely stretch this out a bit. So this whole 3-day process doesn't just happen by magic. Not at all. It's more like a carefully choreographed dance, and it's performed by a few key organizations that act as the guardians of every single trade, making sure everything is fair, it's secure, and it's absolutely guaranteed.
For any trade, you've basically got 4 major players on the field. You've got the marketplace itself, the PSX, you've got the guardians of the money and the shares, that's the NCCPL and the CDC, and of course, you've got your personal representative in the game, your stockbroker. Let's see how they all work together.
So how do all these pieces fit? Well, your broker and the PSX are what connect the trade, but the real magic happens with the 2 middlemen, the NCCPL and the CDC. The best way to think about them is like 2 totally separate escrow services. The NCCPL is the escrow for the money. They make sure the seller gets paid. And the CDC? They're the escrow for the shares, making sure the buyer gets their securities. They basically make sure nobody can run off with the goods.
Okay, theory is great and all, but let's make this real. The absolute best way to understand this T+2 cycle is to just follow a single trade from the very beginning to the very end. Let's trace the full 72-hour journey of a share from a seller to a buyer.
So, meet our 2 investors for today. We've got Wakas, who's looking to buy 100 shares of a company. And on the other side, we've got Faisal, who just so happens to want to sell his 100 shares of that exact same company. Now, they have no idea who the other is, but the market is about to connect them. Okay, it's Monday, T-Day. The moment Wakas places his buy order, let's say it costs 30,000 rupees, that cash is instantly pulled from his account and held by his broker. At the exact same time, Faisal places his sell order, and boom. His 100 shares are immediately pulled from his account and held by his broker. So at this point, everything's kind of in limbo, held by the brokers as the intermediaries.
We're now on Tuesday, T+1. This is the invisible, behind-the-scenes day. The NCCPL, the money guardian, sends an official notice to Akasa's broker saying, hey, you owe us 30,000 rupees. And at the same time, the CDC, the share guardian, tells Faisal's broker, you owe us 100 shares. Then, both brokers move those assets into special clearing accounts, basically getting everything lined up for the final swap.
And finally, it's Wednesday, T+2, settlement day. The NCCPL releases the 30,000 rupees to Faisal's broker, who puts it right into Faisal's account. And at the exact same time, the CDC releases the 100 shares to Wakas's broker, who transfers them straight into Wakas's official account. The exchange is done. Wakas is now the legal owner, Faisal has his cash, and that whole 3-day journey is over.
So why do we need to know all this? I mean, why does this 3-day settlement thing actually matter to you, the investor? Well, it all comes down to one really important word: dividends.
Because, this isn't just some boring technical detail. Understanding the T+2 cycle can have a direct impact on your earnings. In fact, it can be the difference between getting a nice cash payout and missing out on it completely.
Just imagine the company Wakas bought announces a dividend. Let's say it's 500 rupees for his 100 shares. That's a cash payout he definitely wants to get his hands on. But to get it, there's a catch. And that catch has everything to do with that T+2 cycle we just talked about.
Okay, this is the crucial part. Companies have a cutoff date. And to get that dividend payment, you must be the registered legal owner of the share before that date hits. And as we know now, legal ownership doesn't happen on the day you click buy. It happens on T+2, on settlement day. If your T+2 happens to fall after that cutoff date, you miss out on the dividend, even if you bought the share days earlier.
So there you have it. The free day share mystery is officially solved. You now know exactly how a share becomes yours, and more importantly, when it becomes yours. Which leaves us with one final, really important question. Now that you know this, can you time your buys perfectly to make sure you never miss out on a dividend payment again? That's something to think about.